How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing great today.
It's good to have you here.
I hope.
I'm really happy that you, Ruzzel Morales, have been able to join
Yeah,
from the Philippines and
yes.
be interested in, I guess, what it is that gives you the energy to get up in the morning and make a difference in the world, that's a bit big, but so can you tell us about what are your core values? What are the things that really help you navigate our very complex and messy world, especially as a young person?
Yeah, actually, last time I wrote down around five values, but over the course of the time, that the last time that we spoke until today, I I looked at them, I looked at the words, and then I came up with three. All of them are interconnected, of course, but I simplified it more to three. These are my core values. I think that I value courage most of all because I think without courage, we can't really put into action the
Mm.
values, the inner core values that we have, because we need to be brave to put it out there and, to be questioned by other people. So that's courage. Second would be love. I wrote here community and love, but I'll put love here. Love and not in a cheesy term. Sometimes we tend to say that love is an overrated term, but what I mean here by love is something around compassion, the kind of love that is not conditional. So when we love that way, we also see other people as we are, and we see parts of ourselves in other people, and how society works as a reflection of our inner world. So that's a second thing. So courage, love, and also justice. I think that
Mm.
um, when I was thinking about that when love and courage mixes together, we have this uh, connection, or we have this deeper sense to look for justice, to look for what is just and what should be given to other parts of the community. Especially later on, I'll explain how I arrived to my core values. But so far, these are my core values: courage, justice, and love.
Thank you, and you know where we're going with the conversation, because yeah, I'm interested in how your core values emerged, because this issue of social justice, in a developing world context, is even more important than it tends to be a bit invisible in my world. In Australia, it's very easy to live a very safe life without seeing terribly poor people and so on. But for you, Philippines, a lot of people are still very much on the edge. Can you tell us your own story about how you arrived at those values?
Yeah. Well, I arrived to these values, of course. Some of them are lived experience, some of them are passed down values, and some of them emerge as I um, go in deeper to my why. But
Mm-hmm.
to answer the question as to how I arrived here right now with all these values, first and foremost, it's because of my background. As you've said, Philippines, it's not the same as Australia or other, uh, countries with good economy or around that idea of stability. My values really emerge as someone who was raised in a poor household, because my father, before I was born, he was a janitor, a construction worker. He was someone who was not able to, um, have a better education. And my mother was also like that, because my mother was, she peddled different snacks all over our
Yeah.
town just to get by. She had no mother to raise her, so she was alone and depressed. And when they met, of course, they are two very hardworking people that are not that was really tested by life. So I saw how unjust society is, because when they say that you just have to work hard to get by, there are certain things that limits people actually from fulfilling that, because I see my parents working hard, and yet day in and day out they work around 20 hours and even um, less per day, compromising their well-being, compromising the way they parent us, and yet they it seems like there are certain structural um, and social realities that limited them to, have a better life. And that got passed down to me. I had to work very hard. Uh, I sell food. I was a working student, and so is my sister, and so is my younger sister, who's a person with a disability. She has visual impairment, so it was hard for me. So I looked inwardly to make sense of this world and how can I make a change? How can I make a better
Mm.
future? So uh, I was thinking about all this, and it was really the courage to, first and foremost, as I've said, I developed a sense of courage to just have the audacity that, you know what, I can have a better future. So
Yeah,
those experience really shaped me, and those experiences also made me, work for the things that I'm working right now in social and environmental justice.
fantastic. I mean, it's a very powerful story. And you talked about having to go inward. Now, I know a secret. I know that you meditate, right? And I'm kind of interested in how I guess what's the role that spirituality plays in your life and and I guess your value formation and everything.
Yeah. I think because of my background and before, I don't really understand. And when you don't understand something, sometimes you get angry because there's a part of you that just keeps on shouting and you don't understand the language as
Yeah.
to that feeling conveys that that reality to you. So most of the time when I was younger, I was angry. I was angry at everyone. I was angry at myself. Why can't I make changes that I want to make? Why am I stuck in this reality that is very unjust? Why do I have to experience this poverty when other children had got it easier than me? So I had that comparison to my outside world. I was so angry at my mother. I was so angry at my father. I was so angry at everyone.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's very a powerful energy that can cause, that energy is also the same energy as to love. It can cause us creation or destruction. So it
Mhm.
destroyed parts of me that I came to a point that I started to question why I was feeling that way, and that I looked inwardly to myself why I was projecting at that to the world.
Mm.
So meditation helped me just reconnect with the true self. Why am I angry? Because I care and I can't seem to communicate things that I feel inwardly. So
Mm.
meditation made me more centered, made me connect to my intuition, so that although the structural reality that we have now, the external world that we have now is still the same, I have a more optimistic view about life, and I use this energy towards creating a better world rather
Mm.
than just destroying myself and passing on the hatred and the anger. So
Mm.
it's really helped me become centered and
Mm.
reconnect with my intuition and my truest self.
Yeah. Wow, that's very powerful too. So you mentioned optimism because it must sometimes even in the most affluent countries it's very people are finding it harder and harder to be optimistic. COVID has really impacted people, the economy, ecology, the environment. So are you optimistic?
I think, yeah. It took me a long time because hope or being optimistic is like a muscle. So you have to practice it every
Oh,
day to find the good things in everything. And I think that as much as I have diagnosed anxiety and depression disorder, I look at how this is also a gift as that changes the way I see the world, because I have, it's like a superpower. So I see things as that, and as much as sometimes it's hard, especially with the pandemic, with the ecological crisis now,
Mm.
I I look it's a and it's more of an intentional, that's a term, it's an intentional way of looking at the world, and just looking for small pieces of, what may that will fuel us to be more optimistic, because when we are hopeful, we use the same energy of despair to create
Yeah.
a better world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really fuels me moving forward. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm optimistic.
Well, that's great. I guess the final thing is, if you were to give people a message for the future, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard. I have a lot.
A lot of
But
messages.
okay. So I think one of the message is in this very, it's we need to reconnect. I think that's one. We really have to reconnect to ourselves. Just take the time to discern what fuels us, like, our conversation right now.
Yeah.
And then, because that will also reconnect us to our bigger community, and then connect us to creation.
Yeah.
Well, so which, fuels humanity, fuels love to all of us, fuels the reason why we are here doing things that we're doing. So that that's
That's
reconnect.
Thank you very much. That with that, I think we'll end the conversation because it's a great spot. Yep, I've just stopped both recordings. So that's a very happy dog
Yay.
downstairs.
Well, I hope though that it fit in 15
Hey,
minutes.
high five. I'll go like this. High five. Yeah, you've done a great job.
Thank you.